Hi, hello everyone. It's Saturday afternoon, so good afternoon. I hope you're all well. I didn't post any video recorded video class last week, and I think you can probably guess why. I have been pretty busy with lots of different stuff. But anyway, let's not talk about it so much. Today I want to talk about these two pretty confusing words: emergence versus emergency. From the spelling and the sounds, it sounds very similar, at least in terms of meaning. Emergence and emergency. A big part of emergence is very similar to the other word, emergency. But they are not at all similar. There is actually no connection in terms of meaning. So let's start with emergence. The verb for emergence is emerge, and emerge means come out. Let me take you to my favorite dictionary, Oxford. Maybe it's also your favorite dictionary. Here, emerge. Let's look at this definition number one. It says emerge means to come out of a dark, confined, or hidden place. So if someone or something is in a dark place, and when it emerges, it comes out. Or when something or someone is in a confined place or in a hidden place and it emerges, it comes out. Let's look at a couple of sentences we have here. The first one here. The swimmer emerged from the lake. The swimmer was swimming, and when he emerged from the lake, he came out of water. That's emerged from the lake. The second sentence, she finally emerged from her room at noon. That means she had been staying in her room until the noon, which is unusual. Or maybe we could say it in a funny way, like if I ask you, do you know Lady Gaga? And you say, no, I don't know Lady Gaga. Then I would probably say, oh, you don't know Lady Gaga, maybe because you just emerged from a dark cave. Maybe you have been living in a cave for a long time, which is why maybe you don't know who Lady Gaga is. By the way, Lady Gaga is coming to Taiwan. Okay, now let's move on to the next sentence. He emerged from the shadows. Somebody was in the shadow, and when he emerged from the shadow, he came out of the shadows. But here we've been talking about emerge from one place to another place. But this sentence is this one, into. We emerged into bright sunlight. We could say that she emerged from her room into bright sunlight. We could use it that way. So that's emerge. And the noun of emerge is emergence. Noun. So we can say this is the noun, emergence. All right, and there is an adjective, emerging. Emerging. I think you have heard about bricks. Those bricks, B-R-I-C-S, bricks. Brazil, Russia, India, China. Okay, we can get rid of that at BRIC countries. Okay, these countries are called emerging countries economically. Why? These countries were in darkness, economically speaking. Now, these four countries are coming out of their economic darkness into bright, sunny daylight. That means these countries were not doing well economically. Now they're doing good. So they were in the dark and now they're coming out, which is why a lot of people refer to them as emerging countries or emerging economies. Most famous emerging economies in the world. Now, we have talked about emerge as verb and emerging as adjective. Now let's talk about the noun, emergence. Here, emergence. The island's emergence from the sea 3,000 years ago. Sea is a big, vast place, and the island came out of the sea. So the island's emergence from the sea happened 3,000 years ago. The other example here is the emergence of new technologies. New technologies came into existence. Emergence of a tablet computer, iPad, for example. With the emergence of tablet computer, with the emergence of iPad, with the emergence of uh, those uh, revolutionary medicine, means those were not here, but now they are. That's emergence. But now let's go back to the other word that we all know, uh, emergency. Emergency. Uh, okay. We go to ER when you have an accident, traffic accident, for instance. We go to emergency room in a hospital, or when you're very ill, maybe in the middle of the night, where we cannot go and see any doctor, then the only place we can go is an emergency room of a hospital. So here, emergency may sound like or look like an adjective, but it's not. It's still noun. It is also noun. So let's look at the definition of emergency according to Oxford Dictionary. It says emergency is a sudden, serious, and dangerous event or situation which needs immediate action to deal with it. Like when we are very sick, we cannot wait. We need to take an immediate action to deal with it. When there is an accident, we cannot wait until the next morning to deal with it. We have to call police. That's an emergency. That's an emergency. Sometimes the need to go to toilet can be an emergency. It's an emergency. Like if you go to a shop on the street because you have a huge pressure to go to toilet, and you went to a shop and say, can I use your toilet? They say, no, I'm sorry, these toilets are for the stuff only. But you can say that, no, this is an emergency. If you don't let me use your toilet, I might soil my pants. That's an emergency. And if you say it's an emergency, they might let you use their toilet. All right, that's emergency. Now let's look at this some of those example sentences here. Uh, the first one goes like this: the government has declared a state of emergency following the earthquake. That means, after the earthquake, a lot of people maybe suffered from a lot of things. They lost their house and everything. So the government declared A state of emergency means those problems has to be dealt with immediately. And there is another point. When a government declares a state of emergency, the government doesn't have to follow all those ordinary rules. The, the government issues executive order to deal with things immediately without going through those bureaucracy. All right, now let's move on to the next sentence that says this door should only be used in an emergency. Just like when you go to department stores or some supermarkets, you see there are some emergency doors, or sometimes they call it fire exit. Fire exit is also an emergency exit, emergency door. So that's the sentences here. This door should only be used in an emergency, like the emergency exit. The government had to take emergency action. The pilot made an emergency landing in a field. There was an emergency, so the pilot had to make an emergency landing. I always have some extra cash with me for emergency. We might face a lot of problems or dangers, so some people may worry about it and keep some extra cash for emergency, just for emergencies. The government, the next sentence goes, the government has been granted emergency powers. That means there may be some law that says the government can do it, but only when there is an emergency. Like when there is a natural disaster, government can use that money. Government doesn't have to ask the Congress for any permission. Okay, I think that should be enough for today. Uh, so that's the difference between emergence and emergency. I hope it's clear to you. If it is not, don't hesitate to drop me a line on the Facebook. All right, it was nice talking to you. I'll see you later again. Bye bye. Bye bye.